Hello, Butler 1199. My name is Dan. I'm the delegate from BH Call Intake. With me today is Ashley. Ashley.
Hello, I'm Ashley. I am a day float nurse. You may see me bouncing around the hospital or visiting your unit a time or two during the day.
Absolutely. And we are here today because we wanted to cover, an extremely important topic. The main crux of our proposal today, which was the wage proposal.
Big
This is the
one.
big one. Yeah.
Yep, big
And
first time. First time bringing it up.
Yeah, and you know, this proposal it's designed to not only just get some real significant increases in the here and now that will not only catch us up, but even put us forward, right? And also like set us up for the future. Avoid some of the problems that we had over the last 4 years.
Hmm.
Dealing with inflation and these issues.
Hmm.
Um, and
In a way,
it's
we're asking for a significant jump, but also increasing the amount of jumps,
yeah,
so to speak, that we're going to have in the future, especially for those departments and classifications that don't have those yearly anniversary raises.
yeah, absolutely. It's we're making some pretty big changes to the structure of how we get raises, um, and we're gonna get right into that. Um, and I've got a nice little Excel slide to show you. All right, so what we have here is both the current structure and the proposal, the wage scale proposal. On the top, we have what we currently use, which is the step system, and then on the bottom, the wage scales. Uh, and so I'm just going to go through what is currently the case, so that way we can understand what the difference is going forward. So we have example job here, right? And example job currently has a starting rate of $19 an hour. Um, you'd start then on your first anniversary
Yep.
of your hire date. You get that, you got to bump up, and then you would get a contract increase, right? This is why everyone says you get two raises while you're on the steps. You get two
Yep.
raises.
You
You
get
get your
one.
contract increase and your anniversary increase.
Hmm.
Um, same thing would happen year two. Get your anniversary increase, your contract increase. Then, you know, you fall off into this black void of the off scale percent.
Yep. When
Eh,
you often hear people say, if they're trying to figure out what their rate is or whatever, because it's not listed in the steps, it's because that person is off scale. So they've been here X
yes.
amount of years. For half the contracts, there's a 2-year scale, and then I think
Yep.
there's like a 3 months included, and then everybody else it's six steps, so
Yeah.
6 years raises on your anniversary.
Right. And whether it's within 2 years or within 6 years, eventually you fall into the off scale
Hmm.
percent. It's meant to be just the single contract raise, but at a slightly higher percent to make sure you don't fall behind too much. But it has issues. Um,
Yep.
and then, down here at the end, you have your longevity bonuses, a one-time bonus of 2% at 15, 1% at 20 years, $500 at 25 years, and $750 at 30 years,
Hmm.
which are okay. Um,
Not
and
in
yeah,
this current economy. At the time, it was, it was at a time where inflation had not happened yet. This was 4 or 5 years ago,
yeah,
5 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic when we were negotiating for our safety and our health,
yeah,
job security and issues with time off because of COVID and stuff like that was our, priority at the time. And then obviously we've all felt inflation over the last 5 years. So this doesn't work for us anymore.
right.
Uh,
And so we have a new structure. We have a new way of tackling this with some pretty major increases.
That has been already modeled by the contract that was won at Women and Infants a few
Yes.
months
Yeah.
ago.
Yes. And so what we have here is, we're going to start with a significant increase, right? Now, these are example numbers.
Yes.
We're not using any real numbers because we just want to talk about the structure of it, right? We don't want to get into the
Yes.
nitty gritty of who's getting what, just how does this thing function?
Which we know everybody is going to be really eager to talk about what is it going to look like for my particular job classification. And that's where you talk to your delegate.
Talk to your
For
delegate.
those details, all of the delegates on our bargaining committee have spent hours learning, first of all, listening. It was taught to us by Murph
Yes.
extensively and in many different ways. And then we basically recite it to each other so we
Right.
understand it, so we can help, all 700 some odd of us. So we all understand why this is going to benefit us,
Yeah.
and everybody will really see what how great of a thing we're fighting for, and how
Yes.
worth it is for the fight we're going to have.
Absolutely. And
So this is just a basic
This,
example,
yes,
101.
this is an example. This video is meant to be a resource for understanding the structure of the wage scale. Um, Talk to your delegates. So
Yes.
anyway, so yeah, so this contract would start off with, significant increases, to all the departments.
Everybody
Um,
right off the rip.
right. And so this we're going to show this here as nice round numbers, right? Boom. You got a $25, let's say.
Hmm.
Um, and let's say, like Tim example is he got hired in July of 2023, right? Um, he's going to go into this contract. He's still going to be at the starting rate, so he's going to be right here.
Hmm.
And
Last
then,
year. He got hired last year, you're
yep,
saying? Okay,
yeah,
so
he
he
got
got
hired
hired
last year in
last
July,
July.
and so then he's here. He gets
Yep.
boom right up here.
Starting rate.
Then his anniversary is going to come around on July, and boom, he's going to get a his anniversary raise.
Yep. So
Um,
starting April 1st, anybody who's not already there is brought up to $25
yes,
in this example. And
and then you get your anniversary raise. So for these anniversary raises, I am using just a standard 3%. This is once again example numbers.
yep.
Um, and so right on 4th of July, boom, he's up to 25.75. Now we are able to structure contract raises in different places, so I've taken an example of, let's say we put in a contract raise for October 1st of 2025. So he's going to come to October and he is going to get that 10% raise. And now he's going to be at 28.33.
So his annual raise brought him to 25.75, that first one, and then the contractual raise brought him up to 28.33.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, and so then let's say we put in an April 1st contract raise in 2026. Let's say it's 5%, like I have down here. And he is going to hit into that, and boom, he's going to get that 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And then come that July, he is now a 2-year employee. He gets his anniversary raise, and bam, he's at 30.63.
When on April 1st of this year he started, he was at $19.
Yep.
And then April 1st this year we brought him to 25. Then in July, which is only in a few months, 25.75, and then every 6 months a raise, which we've done actually before in our last contract. The 2023 and 2024, we had 1% every 6 months.
Right.
Ignore the 1%. That's does ignore the numbers that we say.
So so that's the purpose of this, right? Is putting people on a path towards something really substantial, something that they can go home, they can, afford their groceries, they can afford daycare, they can take care of their families, they can
Come
take
up
care
for
of,
air.
yes, and for, gamers like me, we can actually afford some Anyway.
A new build.
Yeah, a nice new computer, but that's not here nor there. Um, and yeah, and so this is where like a new employee would
Who is
be.
it? Tim Example, is that
Tim
his name?
example, yeah.
So what if Tim Example has a brother Tom Example
Tom
who
example,
actually has been here quite a bit longer. They've been here for 6 years. Their anniversary is in March.
right.
His
So
their anniversary was this past February.
yes. Okay. So yeah, obviously we have employees who have been here for all sorts of periods of time, pretty extensive periods of time. So what is going to happen at the start of this contract, right, is that we're going to go across this whole thing, and what we are going to see is that you took the starting rate that has gone up,
Hmm.
and then it is going to go down all of these anniversary increases until you get to where you are. And you are going to be what we call plopped into this spot,
Yep.
right? So even if you have been here a long time, you are still getting a substantial raise, right?
Significant jump.
We're bringing up the floor, we're pushing up the ceiling.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so Tom example is going to be starting from here at 29.85.
And
Right.
because we had such an insufficient amount of steps for half these classifications to begin with, uh Tom was at 1977. Or they, well, yeah, because they
Probably,
haven't
yeah,
been.
maybe a little bit more. He'd hit those off scale percents.
Right,
He would
right,
be much lower than this.
right, right,
Um,
right.
and
Thank you for that
yeah,
correction.
and so then let's say his anniversary is in January or whatever.
Hmm.
And so he would then hit into the contract raise in October, and then he would hit into the anniversary raise in January, and then he would hit into the contract raise in April. And
Wow.
there he has gone, right? And
Every
so,
time we go over this, the hundreds of times we've done it, it does still make me
right.
feel very excited.
And what do we see here, right? What do we see here is that there is a static difference between people who are just starting out and people who have put in the time here.
Hmm.
Um,
Right, because I think a lot of folks, especially, our folks that have been at the hospital for a long time, it's no secret that some people have been here for 25, 26 years plus, and there are pretty newer staff that are not making, they're making almost as much as them. And
yeah,
not that one person necessarily deserves more money than the other, but how quickly that happened
right,
for the newer person
right,
really kind of smashed it up against someone who's been here for a long time, because percentage um, there's no significant percentage increase for longevity at this time
right.
right
And
now.
a major issue with the off scale is because different departments have different amounts of steps. As people change departments, go to ones with more, go to ones with less, you have significant compressions that happen, and
Hmm.
you also even have leapfrogs in some cases where people who have been here for less years are making a nickel or two more
Hmm.
than people who have been here longer. Because it just creates all this weird effects as because people are people, they move around, and
Right.
so this is a system much more contiguous with what actually goes on here in Butler.
Hmm.
Another significant change is that we are essentially bringing all departments to 10 to 10 anniversary raises.
Yes.
um,
Yeah, we want everybody to have the steps. We don't think
right,
anybody in the hospital deserves more or less raises than anybody else. It
right,
takes every single person there to run the place.
yeah.
Nobody sits anywhere more important.
And it's what this is what helps keep people in places, right? This is what helps keep people here at Butler, you know where you've got a pathway, right, a pathway through the years of what your career at Butler can look like.
Hmm.
It's there, it's in the numbers, you can see it. um, and and eventually you're going to come to these later years. So we've put in for, some slightly bigger jumps. Um, oh, and uh, you as you get into the later years, you slow down. Um, and you know,
But we want to prevent that. We want people to find a reason, to come in and stay, be like, wow, there's so much opportunity. And then also to keep the people who have been here for so long, the people who really know what they're doing, like we need to keep them.
right.
And it needs to be worth it. It
Yeah,
needs to be worth it.
absolutely. Um, and we had actually proposed, it didn't get put here. I'm just going to put that in real quick. Actually, a bigger jump from the 10-year mark, which is kind of the end of the consecutive anniversary raises, into the 15.
Yeah.
Um, which I just adjusted that. So apologies, folks.
Yeah,
Uh,
there will, yeah, we do want that, almost to be like a just representative of
yeah.
that years of service. Um,
And so, it's what happens here then at the end, right? It slows down a little bit where you start moving into these 5-year cohorts, but you're still going to be getting your contract raises,
hmm
and those will then when you finally hit into your 5-year, you'll
hmm
jump over. Um, so even at when you've been here for a long time, you're not getting left behind. You're still making significant gains
hmm
into the future.
Yeah.
Real sort of like, real money to bring home, and change your life, right?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's what we're all looking for is,
Yeah,
you know, some real progress, and that's what I think we got here. So
I think so too. I think, I mean, I'm excited. I
I
really
think so.
am. I'm excited. It's going to be a fight, and I think that, I think it's gonna take folks a little while to understand this, and we get that. We don't expect everybody to remember every single thing about it right off the rip because, we all know it's taken us weeks, weeks,
Yes.
weeks.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean, pull back the curtain a little bit. This isn't our first take doing this video.
Yeah, we've talked about this a few times already tonight.
So,
But we want to make sure
yeah,
everybody understands because we all really do actually believe this is the best way to bring us up and keep us here. Not keep us here financially, but keep us at this hospital
yeah,
doing what we love to do. And being able to feed our families and afford somewhere to live, and be able to get to and from work without having to make
right.
choices between these
Yeah.
just life-sustaining measures
This
that
is
we all
this is
have.
a proposal that's really worth fighting for.
Yeah,
Um, you
it
know,
does. It does. I will say, just for transparency, there are some things that we just weren't able to fight for because this is our priority. We want to keep our health care and we want to make sure we bring everybody up to a livable wage. And then there are some other, you know,
yeah,
workplace safety stuff that we're hanging on to pretty tight. But
right.
this is our fight.
Which I'm still doing my commentary videos. Those will continue to go as long as we keep bargaining.
hmm hmm
So check it out, folks.
We
um,
just have to convince Dan to help us do it for every department.
it's we're getting there. But and I think we're gonna have some more exciting stuff down the road,
Yes.
some more interviews, and I think this is a good fight. I think we got something special. The air in the hospital is rather electric amongst the members, and it's really exciting to see. Um,
Yes.
Ashley, thank you so much for coming
Oh,
on today, and
thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me,
absolutely.
Delegate Dan.
That's right. And let's keep fighting. Let's keep going.
Hell yeah. Power to the people.
All right. Thank you.